Hello and welcome to Accelerate. I am Matt Stone. This is the podcast where we encourage and inspire CEOs, founders, and visionaries on their big leap journeys. We talk about the stories and strategies that will help you accelerate toward your big leap destination with purpose, humility, an open mind, commitment to growth, and recognition that the way we get there is at least as important as where we end up. And I'm so delighted that you've tuned in today. And it is Tuesday, September 27th, and I'm so delighted you've joined me for a few minutes. I don't have a whole lot today other than just checking in, really. Checking in with you, checking in with myself. How are we doing this Tuesday? It's we're in transition in the season. That always causes a little extra energy to be expended, I think, as we adjust to different temperatures, get caught out in the cold when you think you can still wear short sleeves and then realize, nope, it's too cold. So the ground is shifting, or the weather is shifting, and I know that causes a little bit of extra thought and energy, even if you're not recognizing it. But I am going to a mixer tonight in Manhattan and continuing to meet new people. And I'm just spending a lot of time meeting new people and having that discussion. And it's really, really good. Good for me to do that. I was doing so much online, and then I realized, I'm in this massive city, came here for a reason. And even with the pandemic and all these people working from home, there's still people who are meeting in person. So I need to, avail myself of that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who I'm going to meet tonight. It's going to be basically at the World Trade Center, and excited to see what transpires there and just get to know, one of the things about it is you get to know the community better. It's kind of like walking around a city as opposed to driving. We used to do this in Tokyo. You'd pick a spot, you'd Google map it, and just follow whatever Google Maps told you, which sometimes could be a bit convoluted. And you'd end up down this alley, and you'd find a little cafe that you never knew existed, or an owl cafe, or you just Tokyo's full of bizarre things like that. Well, New York, of course, has got its own version of that, and so it's really great, to go to these things and meet people and find out who's running the stores in the town, and who's involved in local and small business, and can learn a ton from that. And I have to say, my experience so far here has been that that I really, really love the people here in New York. There's definitely a difference between like Manhattan and, like New Jersey. Live on the Jersey side, spend more than half of my time in Manhattan. And yeah, it's interesting, the different cultural pockets, and the differences even across the Hudson River. But I have to say, people here have been just overall, really, really wonderful. And there's such a sense of, I don't know, there's a lot of people come here from other places. So if you're an immigrant or you are transient, there's really a sense of familiarity with that. People are here, many of them are here to do something, accomplish something, build something. And so I feel a real kinship with a lot of different people who might come from a very different place, be from a different part of the world, and yet we have all that in common. So it's really, there's so many things that you can be negative about, but boy, I have to say there's so much positive here, so many wonderful acts of kindness and curiosity and connection. So kindness, curiosity, and connection. How's that for your alliteration on Tuesday? The last thing I want to say is I do want to bring to you useful resources. I try to bring articles and, citations and different things, tips and quotes and things. I listen to a couple of other podcasts. There's one I've started to listen to. It's very popular. It's called Smartness. It's Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes and what's his name? I'm forgetting the other guy. He's hilarious. Anyway, it's just three Hollywood people who, I don't know about Sean Hayes, but I know that, Jason Bateman grew up in Hollywood. I mean, he was a kid when he started. And they bring on a celebrity and they talk to him in a kind of a unique way. And some of the episodes are not great. I mean, in my opinion, don't bother listening to the Katy Perry conversation. It's just absolutely hollow. I mean, they tried. They really tried. She wasn't available. I think she was too tired from raising a kid and working too much. But whatever it was, no judgment on her, but it just didn't flow. But then they had a recent episode with Ethan Hawke. It's within the last couple of weeks. If you go on to podcast, you can find it. That episode is well worth listening to from beginning to end. Ethan Hawke talks about being a child actor and surviving the journey, basically, from being a child in Hollywood to an adult, and a young adult, and then a middle-aged adult. And it's so pertinent to everything we talk about on this podcast and to the entrepreneurial, journey, to any kind of journey in terms of a venture that takes a long time and takes many twists and turns. And I think if you're interested in getting really inspired by someone who lacks all of the arrogance that is associated with Hollywood stars, is just so grounded in what life is really all about. And I was really, really blown away by it. And in about 40 minutes in, he starts talking. I think it was about 40 minutes in. It could be 35, 40 minutes in. Ethan Hawke starts talking about, Elvis and Elvis's decision. Now, I haven't watched the Elvis movie, and I don't know a whole lot about Elvis, but I believe something in the Elvis story has to do with him signing with RCA Records, and then there was sort of a downward spiral from there. I think I've got that right, and I apologize to all of you Elvis fans if I didn't. But what Hawke was saying was that, he thinks that, look, Elvis would have been a huge star. He would have been hugely successful even had he not signed with RCA, because he had that kind of talent. And that essentially what I took from it was that, I don't know if it's selling out, but basically the message was believe in yourself. If you've got talent, believe in it, and make decisions that are long-term decisions, not short-term decisions. Because the long-term decisions, if you keep at it, you basically have to keep growing and reinventing yourself over time. And some decisions will undercut that ability to grow. Where you're put in a box, you're expected to produce, according to someone else's plan, and it kills yourself. You cannot be true to yourself, and your own brilliance and talent and skill will not be nearly as, you won't be as adaptable. You won't learn and grow, basically. And he was talking about that in the context of, how he survived the transition from child actor to an adult, and how he went through long periods where he thought his career in Hollywood was over, and it was done. And he had to get through those periods and just keep believing in himself and working when he could and doing what he could do and working on his skill development and being a good person and all of those things. And then he had a resurgence. That's happened a few times, I think, at least a couple. So very inspiring for anybody who's working on something long term. And I think the message of just, really working on almost the spiritual practice of believing in yourself, but continuing to nurture that belief even through, it's easy to believe in yourself when you're winning. It's much harder to believe in yourself when you don't feel like you're winning, when things are going against you, or at least you perceive that. That's the true test of whether you believe in yourself. So surround yourself with good people and put practices into place that build that inside strength to get you over those hurdles, through those hurdles with growth. All right, that's the message for today. Check out the Smartness podcast, and I'm going to go network tonight, and we'll check back with you tomorrow. Until then, Be well. Check us out at mattstone.co, Twitter at mattstoneco, Instagram at mattstoneco. And be well. Bye-bye for now.